idea. So he's not with us today, but he started out just looking at how email is still the most popular way for us to communicate. There's almost 2 billion users on the internet that use email, and he just observed that it's a very old technology. It's super impressive how popular it is given how old it is, and how computers could barely do anything back when email was invented. And he made this observation that email really just tried to mimic the existing form of communication, which was paper mail, inside computers. And he said, look, if we look at what computers can do today, they're super powerful. We have this internet that's always on. And what if we try to ignore how people communicated before computers and don't try to mimic that, but rather try to come up with the best way given how powerful computers are. And he proposes this thing, which we call Wave today. Back then he just called it Post-it Conversations, where he said instead of dealing with individual messages, if you deal with this higher level concept of a conversation, or a wave as we call it, and you make it a shared object, you can have all these different types of benefits. And I think the first one that really caught my interest was the fact that you no longer needed to choose a different tool based on whether the other person happens to be online. And now, in a way, if the other person is not there, you can just write a message and it waits for them when they arrive. If the other person is there, you can quickly interact with them like this. And then, over time, we realized that this model, this super simple model of a shared wave, actually has an incredibly wide range of uses. And we tried, when we started working on this in earnest back in 2007, we tried to look at all the different tools, not just instant messaging and IM, but also social networks and media sharing sites and blogs and wikis and all of these different means of communication that exist in our lives today, and trying to see if this hosted conversation model was powerful enough to have all of the functionality of the other tools. And we think over the next couple of years, something like that would be possible. It's a very, we know, ambitious and crazy thing to try out with, but I guess we like that sort of thing. When you ask me where I think we're going, hard to predict the future. I'll tell you where I would love to see Wave going, which is that Wave, and not just Google Wave, but Wave the technology. I mentioned earlier that we're not intending for Wave just to be a Google thing, but rather for Wave to be an open technology that many other organizations will use to provide their users with Wave functionality. Our super ambitious, long-term hope, dream, aspiration is that Waves become an important, if not the most important way for us to communicate, to interact, like you were saying, both in our private lives and at work.
Great, thank you, Lars. To be honest, I was not very clear because I asked you my question, but maybe you know that we have been asking questions, we have been gathering questions basically this morning in our stand from people of this event. I don't know if you had the chance to have a look at the questions that were posed. If you...
we did. We have the questions, and I can go ahead and read the first wave one to Lars, which is, when will it be integrated with Gmail?
Right, so
when will it be...
Thanks.
Yes, when will it be integrated with Gmail? So with Google's mail application. So we don't know. It's when we do surveys of our existing users, it's the second most requested features. The most requested feature is to have more Wave accounts for their friends. But after that, people are asking for an integration, not just with Gmail, but with email in general. And it'll probably take us some time yet to get it fully integrated. Excuse me, I think before the end of the year, we'll do something very simple, where if you're a Wave user, and something happens with your waves, you get a new wave or an old wave that's changed, we'll send you a gentle notification into email. Because we know that early on, when you don't get very many waves, sometimes people don't check their wave inbox every day, and then other people don't know if you actually receive what they say. And so with a little gentle notification into email, I think we'll get a lot more use out of Wave. And then we know that there are a few people working on extensions using the APIs that I mentioned earlier, where there'll be a tighter integration with email so that you can sit inside Wave and receive emails and have them create waves, and then when you reply inside Wave, the extension will send back out an email. But that's a little bit further out into the future.
Okay, thank you.
So the next question is,
Yeah, if you don't mind, sorry, sorry.
yes,
If you don't mind, I would also to pose one question to Simon, because we had a speech before with him talking about search. And always speaking up from the moderator, the question to Simon is Google really threatened by the launch of Bing? So we changed sign now.
No. Competition is good for this space. We're in the early days of what search can do. Some of the things that I showed earlier hopefully exemplify that. But I think having lots of people trying new things can only be good for search